Connected with CARI, season 8. So those of you who have hung in there through all 8 seasons, I love you. I love you to pieces. That's all I'm going to have to say. No, you guys are amazing and a wonderful audience. I love just having you guys here. All the love you guys have shown for myself and my guests, truly remarkable. This is now, boy, we're into February already, which is great because January always seems to be the longest year that we have within the year, as they say, because January is cold and we just don't want to have it. However, February, we're off to an interesting start. It's been cold and then it's been warming up now again, which is nice. So that's wonderful. We can get ready for spring soon around the corner. I'm looking forward to that. With me today is Darla Daniels. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Please introduce yourself to my audience. Some may or may not have seen the post that I put up and know a little bit about you. But if you want to formally introduce yourself, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Darla Daniels. I'm based out of Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm from Buffalo Lake, Métis settlement. I am a Métis fiddler, a singer-songwriter, and an actress. So I play the fiddle, and it's so much fun. Gotta love it.
That is really cool because not a lot of people play the fiddle, for one, because I think it's an acquired taste as well. So how did you decide to go, I want to be in fiddling? What was the aha moment for you?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was about 11 years old in school. So the school that I went to, all the kids in Buffalo Lake, Métis settlement, went to a school in Caslin, which is a very small hamlet nearby. And when I was, how old are you in grade 11? Probably in like grade 4, 5, something like that. The school brought in a program called Art Smarts. And what they did is brought in musicians and dancers, filmmakers, poets, all these kinds of artists. And they brought them in periodically throughout the year to teach the kids a bunch of different kinds of art. And someone put a fiddle in my hand and a guitar in my hand, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And it was different. And yeah, I started learning with my friends, and it was just so much fun to like do something different. And it gave us something to look forward to when we were going to school. Mm-hmm. And it changed the morale and the energy in the school immensely within just a few weeks. So that's how I got started, is just learning in school by ear. My first teacher was Gilbert Anderson. He's passed now, but he was one of the staple fiddle players in Northern Alberta. He was great.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. I love that there was a music program for you when you were much younger, because I think a lot of musical type of, instrument playing, I think it's like mostly junior high. When you're in Canada, I think that's usually when they, kind of bring it in and introduce it, and then you're in band and you have, a way to get in that way. But I love that. I mean, I think elementary, there's like your few little, tambourine classes or the recorder. Was it recorder?
There we go. I remember the recorder vividly. I had one of those things.
Oh my goodness. And we drove our parents absolutely crazy with.
Oh my gosh, did we ever? Especially when I started learning how to play fiddle. My poor parents, I don't know how they did it, but having to listen to squeaky Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for like 2 years, nuts. And playing Silent Night in my bedroom in like July.
God bless your parents. giving them the patience to deal with that. So, but because that's the thing, we get the recorder when we're, in elementary. So to get a stringed instrument is pretty rare to start. So that's really cool to be able to jump right into it very early. So when you started enjoying playing and everything, and of course you had a couple classmates that were in it with you, did you take classes outside of school, or was it just solely in school to start?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I started with everyone else, like in a class. there was maybe 5 or 6 of us, and I didn't right away take private lessons. I didn't really need them in the beginning. I think I started to take private lessons a couple years in, if I'm not mistaken. And I played the school fiddles, which were all provided by the school, so they were beginner. And then I got my first one, I think, when I was about 12 or 13.
Wow.
But yeah, and then that's when the private lessons started.
Okay. Can we get you just to turn your volume down on your end just a tiny bit? Because I think we're getting a little bit of feedback. All right.
No problem.
There we go. Okay. Sometimes we just don't know until someone else hears us. Okay. Yeah, because it's interesting to know if, you just loved it so much to take extra courses, or how the whole thing went. Because a lot of people sometimes, music might have been in the family and then they decided to carry it on. Was there any musical influences in your family or relatives that you?
No, I was the only musician in my family. My dad played a little bit of guitar in his younger years.
Okay.
But nothing serious.
That's pretty good. So now you can at least know, maybe if you have children one day, you can pass on the fiddle to your children, or to some cousins or something. That would be pretty neat to do. What have you, because I know you sent me your bio and there were some performances that you have done over the years. Can you tell the audience some of the performances you have done that a couple that you've really enjoyed as well, and what your experiences were with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first one that really, sorry, I'm going to put my phone on silent here.
Okay.
The first one that I'm thinking of is I think about like a couple years into playing music full time. I was like 20, and I was touring with a Celtic folk rock band based out of Vancouver, and we played Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and it was nuts. It was so much fun. People everywhere. You couldn't even see like through the crowd. So many people, and they all love the fiddle. They love live music down there. It was just really cool to be able to experience that. And it went by so quickly, but I remember like all the colors and beads flying around, and yeah, it was probably the most memorable.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like it would be a lot of fun and interesting to see. I would love to see the costumes as well. That would be just, all in its element, that whole culture of what they have for Mardi Gras in its rawest and most truest form, which would be so cool. Are there performances? Have you done any performances yet this year?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What have you done this year?
This year so far, it's all such a blur already. Things just happen so quickly. The most recent one is I play in a band with Justin Sutton and North of 49. So we're a country band. Justin is a phenomenal songwriter, performer, just a great artist and a great guy as well. We just played the Blues on White band meeting. So we were in the semifinals. We made it through to the finals, and the finals happened on March 14th. So that was a really cool night, so much fun, and so many amazing bands. I don't know how the judges are able to judge that. I couldn't do it.
No.
Yeah, and then played Blues on White again the next day with Leo Martinez in the Leo Martinez band. And it's a fun time when you get to play that room on a weekend. It's just nuts, and just everyone is there for the music. It's so refreshing. There aren't a lot of places, in my opinion, like that in Edmonton these days. I remember people telling me that have been playing music for 30, 40 years. It used to be so different. There used to be tons of Blues on Whites, every night of the week, there used to be something going on in all genres. So, but yeah, those are probably the most recent. And then I did the private gig at Royal Glenora Golf Club or golf course last week.
Wow, that's very nice. Have you done any weddings?
I have, yeah. The most recent one was in September, and with Justin Sutton and North of 49. And that was really cool. It was like an outdoor wedding, and it's kind of country wedding as well. So we fit in just perfectly. And when they reached out to us, we were like, we're not really a wedding band. So we're not going to play Caroline. Sorry. We're going to play Taylor Childers and Sturgill Simpson. And they were like, that's what we want. And we were like, all right, let's go.
That's accommodating. That's very good. So what are the genres that you generally play? Do you mix it up, or what is like the most common thing that you are just so accustomed to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's something that's evolved quite a bit over the years for me. The first and my first love and where it all began is old time Western and Canadian fiddle, Métis, traditional Métis fiddle music. When you're accompanying with your feet on a hardwood floor. Country, definitely. Like I started playing in country bands when I was about 14. Still doing it today, and we live in Alberta after all. So, if you're a musician,
The best
you play a fiddle. Right? It just worked out. But I think I picked a good instrument because there aren't a ton of fiddle players. There's amazing fiddle players in our province for sure. But it's a little bit more of a specialized instrument, so it's the work is pretty frequent, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Last year I kind of got more into blues, a little bit more into rock.
Ooh.
And folk is always going to be a huge influence as well.
Yeah, that's really super cool. I'm going to get you to play something because I think we need to experience this firsthand. And
Absolutely.
you can choose if you want to do a rock and stir things up, or you decide. That's
cool.
Up to you. It's going to be a surprise for all of us.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm going to play one of my original tunes.
Okay.
A little bit of a backstory as well. This tune is called Fredonia. It's going on my EP that will be started. We're going to start recording it this fall. I just finished applying for grants to get funding for it. So we're really excited and building a team and going to get some phenomenal musicians on board. But yeah, this one I wrote in 2012 when I was touring with that Celtic Folk Rock band. And there's a small college town in northern, or I guess upstate New York, called Fredonia. And amazing place. During the day, it's typical chill small town, college town, and then at night it became so vibrant and live music coming from both sides of Main Street. Mm-hmm. Amazing tacos, great food as well. So I wrote this tune for Fredonia.
That's all for the tacos, folks.
Awesome. Hope you enjoy.
Okay. Because we don't have an audience going, I'll do that.
Thanks.
That's
I appreciate it.
wonderful. That's awesome. I love hearing that transformation from like the day to the nighttime, how it got all upbeat and everything. That was just, that transition was, I heard that and I was like, I gotcha. I see what you did
Oh,
there.
awesome. That's awesome that you picked up on that. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. That was so beautiful. I love it. Is that your favorite song right at the moment?
To play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, there's one other one that I like to play even more that I wrote a couple years ago. The reason why I like it is it's a little bit heavier,
okay.
and I think when I recorded, I kind of want it to be like a rock fiddle piece because in the middle there's kind of like a breakdown and a little bit of an interlude where my backup guitarist and I will play like 16 bars of Enter Sandman by Metallica. So it's just a lot of fun.
That
Yeah,
sounds so awesome, actually.
it's so
Okay.
much
Will
fun.
you play some of it or whatever you can play of it? Will you play it for us?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yes.
I can't like say that and
I
not play
love
it.
my own private concerts. This is the best.
I love giving them. It's so much fun. Yeah,
Okay.
I played this at Churchill Square downtown Edmonton before the fireworks for New Year's Eve. And
Oh,
I think I saw a lot of people in the crowd that were like, is that Metallica? Like, you don't usually hear Metallica on a fiddle, so it's a lot of
right.
fun.
I think it's
Okay.
so much fun. And I like growing up, I heard it was really cool because it was kind of an introduction to classical music. It was like hooked on classics, something my mom had kicking around. And I was like, oh, okay, classical music, whatever. And I remember, our music teacher was trying to introduce it to us because classical music is the base of all music. Doesn't matter what genre you have, that's the base of it. So I remember listening to Hooked on Classics and I was like, this is the best because it wasn't just, your average, lulling type of classical music. It was like upbeat. It had like the kick to it and it was like, this is great. So yeah, I'm all
Yeah,
in. I'm all in for the fun of it. So okay, let's go.
me too. Awesome. All right.
Okay. Do your fingers ever hurt after playing?
Not really anymore because I play so often, so I have pretty significant calluses at this point.
Oh, okay. So it's the
If anything
callus.
hurts when I play, it's like my back.
Oh, just,
But
one
I'm
of
in my
those
30s
things I
now.
just, I was just curious because all we see are the fingers just going. And people are just like, we have a comment already, like someone's like, wow, amazing. And you are truly outstanding. But yeah,
Thank
I
you.
just see like you go a mile a minute. So it's like the first thing I'm like, her fingers have got to be sore.
I think they really hurt when I first started because I had little girl fingers, so I didn't really have any strength yet. And yeah, but I think now it's become kind of like an extension of my body in a
Yeah.
weird way. Yeah, but yeah, no
What
pain,
was,
not yet.
not yet. What was the toughest thing that you had to learn or go through while playing or, even learning the fiddle?
When learning, yeah, the toughest thing.
It could even be
I think,
performance, because some people have a tough time even performing, like they get stage fright or things like that.
yeah, yeah, I experienced all of that when I was young, for sure. I used to get so nervous, and I still get nervous sometimes,
Yeah.
but I used to just feel so anxious and, like, what if I mess up? And, what if I'm not good? Like all these things. But I think probably the hardest part or the hardest thing that I've experienced when learning was continuing to play
Yeah.
when I felt I wasn't getting anywhere, because learning and growth and any kind of process where you're improving something and you're working towards something is not a linear experience. We all know this,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So I get
Absolutely.
humbled, right? I get humbled every time I pick up my instrument. Like I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I recognize that there's be times that some days I pick it up and I'm like, ooh, I'm good. And then other days I pick it up and I'm like, what's going on? It's not doing what I want it to do. It's got a mind of its own, and some days I'm burnt, so like everything in between.
Right.
But yeah, when I was young, I didn't really know how to like discipline myself. That came much later, like in my later teen years. But yeah, there were times where I'm like, this is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet you just wanted to give up and then you're like, no. What was the motivation to get you through those moments? Like, what was it? Was it your parents that are just like, okay, keep going? Or was it just like something in you was like, just keep going, Darla, keep going? What was that
Yeah,
drive?
a lot of people think it might be my parents, but my parents were like, I came home with a fiddle one day and I was like, I'm gonna play this, and they're like, okay, sure. So they didn't really care what I did. They were
Yeah.
like, as long as you're happy and you're doing your thing, you're going to school, and I did all that stuff too. So they were fine. But the reason why I kept going and my motivation early on was my teacher.
Mm.
He was amazing. He was this old gentleman who was so funny and he made it so fun. And he shared a lot of the history and the traditions around the music and the way that he trusted me
Hmm.
with these old tunes that have never been written out, these old fiddle tunes that were handed to him to
Yeah.
pass on. Like he trusted me with that when I was very young. So I
Wow.
took that on as like a really big responsibility, because there was a time that our people were not allowed to speak our language, not allowed to play our instruments.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't long ago, right? So
Yeah.
I understood that for some reason from a very young age, that it's a responsibility to
Right.
continue playing our instruments and playing our music.
Yeah. Because also now I want to get into a bit of the cultural side of it because you are Métis. So being Métis, has that been a struggle from out, like going into something on the outside, going, hey, okay, I'm a Métis artist. Have you been let down in certain ways because of that?
Because of my background,
Yeah.
maybe.
Has there been anyone that's like, no, we don't want you performing, or, any type of difficulty because of that?
No. And I know I'm not, I know that's probably like, I know there's lots of other people who had the opposite experience that I
Right.
did. I
Yeah.
was fortunate for it to be the opposite for me,
Okay,
because
good.
they were like, oh, you're a Métis fiddle player. We want you because you're a Métis fiddle player. So I've been very blessed to have the support of my community and my music family to, you know, always keep me in mind for these opportunities the way that they have. My biggest struggle with that has not been because I'm Métis, it's because I'm mixed. So so I'm Métis, Cree, Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese. So I'm a big old mix. But to a lot of people who don't know me, present as Asian, right? So I roll up with a country band. We're all in flannel shirts, you know, the bedazzling cowboy boots, you know, big old turquoise jewelry because I'm a country girl. That's just who I am.
You have to do it all up. Yeah.
You got to go all out, right?
Yeah.
And they see me and they're like, oh, you brought a classical violinist with you. This is going to be fun. And once I start playing, it's a little bit of a different story, right? But it's always been an interesting part of my life. Let's just put it that way. That I look like classical, but I'm just a fiddle player from the settlement. So it's a lot of fun. I love it.
Well, I just like to get those interesting stories out there and how, excuse me, people overcome them. Because, like you said, sometimes there are very many struggles due to your ethnicity. It could just be, you know, a cultural thing. It just sort of varies on different aspects of how people do grow up. So I'm very happy that you didn't have too much to deal with on that end, which is good. Because now I find more and more people are very welcoming to different diversities and all different kinds of arts. And I find it like, it's so cool and so interesting to see what people do bring to performances, like regardless of who they are. I think it's like just the coolest thing to go, here's my talent. And it may or may not have to even do with your background at all, right? It's just like what you have inside of like you individually, which is like the coolest thing ever. So I'm glad that you're able to bring that forward to us and share that. So I want to go into quickly, because we have a few minutes left. What are some of the bigger goals that you have with fiddling? Do you want to start up a school, or do you want to do fiddle soundtracks for movies? What are some interesting goals you have for yourself?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, this year is really the year that I've been dialing those in. And last year, the year before, I was just always thinking about them. But, you know, a goal is like a dream, but it's a dream with a timeline, right? You actually have a plan in place. You're starting to put things into motion. First goal is to record my first vocal EP or recording project. So like I told you earlier, that's going to be starting to put together later this year. So all the songs are written.
Good.
It's going to be a very emotional and I hope powerful and connecting project. It's going to be called 1992, which is the year that I was born.
Yeah.
And it's going to have Fredonia on the recording as well. So that's my goal, to put that together. I've been manifesting. This is my phone background. I already have the album art all together. So that's been my phone background for a year now. And I'm like, it's finally happening.
Manifesting in itself takes some time. I've got a team of manifestors with me right now. And actually, one of them, she's in here and she's actually wanting to ask you a quick question. So she says, first of all, she apologizes for coming in a bit late and if it was already answered, but she wanted to know what fiddle players or musical artists inspired you to be a fiddle player?
To be a fiddle player?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a really cool question. So the first would be Daniel Gervais, and he is from St. Paul, Alberta. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he won the Canadian Grandmaster Fiddle Championships, I think in 2018, if I'm right with my dates. But
yeah,
he is phenomenal, and he always has been. Incredible chops, awesome guy, puts on a great show. And I remember seeing him play at my school when I was like 8 or 9. And I was like, whoa, this is so much fun. This is so cool. I've never seen a fiddle before. Yeah. I thought violin was like violet. Like we weren't really connected to our culture at that point. That's what the program brought in later.
Yeah.
But him for sure, Calvin Ballrath, huge. I don't even have to say anything more.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like really any country song that I've ever heard when I was younger that fiddle in it.
Right. Just hits you so hard. It's so great.
Yeah, just like tickles that area of my brain. It's like,
Yeah. It's so calming, and yet just like, yeah, it twinges your ear to be like, I want to listen to more. It's really super cool. That's just like the best part of it. And I think just like, you know, have you written anything on your own yet?
Have I written anything on my own?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think we've got a couple minutes. Could you play one last one for us and then we'll wrap it up after?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I can play something.
Okay.
Let's see.
Something original, folks. This is going to be an original one. So I'm excited.
Oh yeah, the last two were originals. Those are my two that I do typically play that are mine, but I can play you a traditional tune.
Oh, okay. That would be cool too. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, sweet.
Okay.
Let me just figure out what to play. All right.
Sure. So beautiful. Thank you so
you.
much. That's wonderful.
Thank
Just
you.
a nice ending for a nice Saturday evening just to wind down to. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, could
Absolutely.
you please let us know, the audience, where we can find all your music and your socials? And guys, please give her a follow and give her some love on her socials as well, please.
Awesome. Thank you again for having me. If anyone
Welcome.
wants to connect with me, I always follow back as well. I'm on the old Facebook because I was born in the 90s. And you can find me under Darla Daniels Music on Instagram as well. Instagram's probably where I'm the most active. I have a website, also just darladaniels.com. And I'm always updating show dates there as well. And I hope to make it down to Lethbridge someday. That'd be a lot of fun. Or even down to Calgary again. It'd be so worth it to go down there. Thank you again so much for having me. This is great.
You're so very welcome. And I hope that we can get you back on the show sometime, either when you release your project or before, just somewhere in there. That would be kind of cool to see what you're up to then. So yeah, we'll have to have you back. Thank you so very, very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We all had a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad. It was so good to meet you as well. Hopefully we'll connect again.
We will. I'm going to connect with you on Facebook as well because it'll be fun. I want to see what you're
Sounds
up
good to
to.
me.
That's what I need to see. I'll be like, I know her. She's amazing and she's awesome. And who knows, maybe we'll have you down. We should like see if one day maybe you can even perform at the Calgary Stampede. Like that would be kind of cool as well. I know
Yeah,
there's like you have to get in early to get on the list to get in for sure, but maybe next year, who knows, right? So yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. That's
Yeah.
on my list.
Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Have a great weekend. Yeah. We'll see you soon.
You too. Take care. Bye
You
for
too.
now.